fish.
Attention. The movie guys love movies. Any jokes made about the headline in the Hollywood Reporter that the production of Mrs. Doubtfire 2 is in jeopardy due to the death of Robin Williams are purely for entertainment purposes only. Isn't that right? No shit.
Thanks for your news flash, Hollywood Reporter.
Yeah.
They wrote that headline only because they actually used the Mrs. Doubtfire in doubt. They wanted to be the first to be clever with that.
They wrote that before he died.
I had no tweets or Facebook posts about Lauren Bacall. I feel bad because I had like 3 or 4.
Talk about not getting any love because
Because she's not funny.
Well, then she's in the wake of, no pun intended, in the wake of Robin Williams. No one's paying attention to that.
Who wins the Oscar in memoriam
Top slot?
closer?
Robin Williams.
Better question. Who gets left out? That always leaves someone out. And no
Dennis Farina.
Oh, yeah.
Farrah Fawcett.
It's going to be him, Robin Williams, with the last one, and it will be a picture of him as Patch Adams.
Oh.
You think?
Yeah, something cutesy instead of My friend Wendy, she does the news for, Wendy Gillette. She does the news somewhere. And she wrote on Facebook, I thought this was so fascinating, that a couple of years ago when Robin Williams had some serious surgery, they were not sure if he was going to make it. So the paper had her write an obituary already. So she was able to bring that back up and just update it.
Yeah, he had heart surgery.
Isn't that horrible?
They do that. There's one written for Clint Eastwood.
She pre-wrote it.
Out there waiting to be used.
Oh, and the Entertainment Tonight montage. Like, that's sitting in their vault right now with all of his best moments. And each time he does a new movie, they're like, all right, add one Jersey Boy shot
Give
to
it the Oscar. Yeah, exactly. They say it comes in threes, but I think we already had Garner. But we got like 6 or 7 because, world, Menachem Golan died.
Uh-huh.
Your Canon Films founder.
Oh, I thought he was a Secretary of State, Menachem
He
Begum.
sounded like an Indian who
Producer
doesn't
of
eat for some sort of cause.
Superman 4.
Yes.
All right.
James
That was
Shigeta.
horrible.
Anybody?
James Shigeta died.
Die Hard?
I don't know. Who's James Shigeta?
He was in Die Hard.
Right.
Which one? Not
Lee, the world is in mourning.
He will not be joining us for the rest of his life, as they say in Die Hard.
That's true. Hey, welcome to the Movie Showcast, everybody. Part of the vast and sprawling Movie Guys empire.
James Shigeta.
Remember, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Except herpes, that shit'll come back with you. You've reached ground zero for all things movies and comedy. We bring the two together right here on our show every week with jokes, rants, sketches, characters, bits, special guests, and more as we broadcast from the Admirals Club in the heart of Burbank Airport's flyover zone. They don't stop making movies, so we don't stop making comedy shows about movies, which means you can get a new show every week. Basically, search The Movie Guys on Google, Yahoo, or... Bing! Bing! And we come right up.
Happy. He's happy.
I'm very happy.
That's
Love
iTunes,
that.
SoundCloud, YouTube, Stitcher, and of course, themovieguys.net, absolutely free. And we encourage you to subscribe wherever you can. And if you do, still... no charge. Speaking of themovieguys.net, you can go there now for a Blu-ray review of Under the Skin from our movie guy Ray Scalacci.
Scalacci.
Wouldn't you rather be on the internet?
Wouldn't you rather be doing something else?
Don't go there now. But should you stumble across it. You can also find our showcasts like the one you're listening to on a couple of internet radio stations, including WBAD.net, Fridays at 4 p.m. Eastern, and Jonas Mount Radio Thursdays at 6 Eastern. And from what I understand, they also are not charging. So basically, we're out there. I am your host for the hardest working podcast on the airwaves, Paul Preston, here with Lee Caius, Adam Witt, and Karen Volpe. They're applauding themselves.
We've never done that before. I just realized we've never
You've never
Good for us.
You know what?
You mentioned hardest working, and damn, he's right.
The other day we were doing a Boubet Sisters show, and we never thought of this before, but at the end, Heather's going, "Thank you, everybody, for coming out. It was so great that you're here. Thank you for your support." And my character goes, "What are you thanking them for? We did all the work." And then we started yelling at them, going, "Yeah, screw you guys."
Now,
Nice.
for anybody listening who wants to see a Boubet Sisters show, do you get to see Boubets during the show?
We wore Boubet dresses this last time. There's a lot going on.
Because that's good advertising.
Thank you.
You
Yes,
got a
come
platform
see the
here.
girls.
BOOBE sisters.com.
Yes.
And
Evil
Karen's
little thing on
comedy singing group.
Yeah.
Now, joining us later in the show will be Frank H. Woodward, self-described as a maker of geek-centric documentaries. And who are we not to take up
We
the
love
topic
Hell yeah.
geek-centric?
Yay!
Frank H. Woodward.
Oh, yeah, he usually gets an applause.
Men in suit. Men in suits.
And as ever, we'll be talking new releases, preparing you for what's coming up in theaters, including The Expendables 3. Hope you're ready for some old jokes, because this movie stars nothing but old jokes. Also, Damon Wayans Jr. disappoints his family and does not make a scary movie, instead making Let's Be Cops. And later in the show...
This music cue, and that's it. All you're playing.
Hello?
I was like, what's that?
My name.
I know who you are. Who are you? The giver. When the elders need guidance, I provide wisdom using memories of the past. Our world was different. There was more.
More?
Much more.
Oh, that sounds good.
We have a new
sound
actor.
effects.
Yeah, new sound effect, right?
Yeah, that, I haven't heard.
Yeah.
That's like the Three
Into
Stooges.
the Hall of Fame.
That should be in there.
That's the curly
Yeah.
of suspenseful
effects.
music cues.
Boing. And now,
Boing.
and now curly.
Bwong would be more of a mo, right?
Yeah.
Right? Boing.
I want to work on my Jeff Bridges from the last 3 movies.
you gotta be
what is happening to his voice?
Yeah.
It's very low to.
He's a little twangy, too.
I've been working on upper bridges, you know. You know that bridges?
No,
but I haven't been
this
doing
is
that
the
one.
only Jeff Bridges you get now.
Yeah, the Rooster Cogburn.
He sounded normal on Stern. He sounded like the
Jeff
dude.
Bridges on the Howard Stern show.
Yeah,
He was very
but
funny.
he wasn't doing all that. Oh.
No, he's got a great laugh.
Yeah.
Howard makes him laugh. He's like all that. It's just,
I love how he
he's the
accepted his
best.
Oscar as the dude, kind of. He
Yeah.
just got up there and was like, wow, this is a jam, man. Hey, man.
But that's how he was on Stern.
That's how
he
he was,
at
yeah.
Comic-Con, leading us only to believe
Yeah.
that's who he is.
That's who he is.
Right, and then he goes and he does
Awesome.
all this low acting.
And then he throws out the first pitch of the Dodgers game and bowled it.
Yeah.
I mean, who embraces their popular character that much? Most people are like, all right, I'm not,
Cool.
I'm not Han Solo. Get the fuck away from me.
Stop yelling Norm when I walk in the room.
That's awesome.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
It's been a while.
thing?
It's been a while.
You know what that music means? It means we've made an error. It happens, even we do it. Most of the time, Jamie is here to make immediate amends,
Sometimes
but
she's not quick
sometimes
enough.
our screw-ups even get past her. That's true. And I think it's important to admit when we've messed up, because I'm sure many of you incorrectly get all of your news from us. You really shouldn't. But let's throw things to Lee here as we go through another round of... Retractions. Lee, what do you got?
It always starts with such an upbeat.
It's
Sounds
happy.
like a game show, but it's not.
Having
But we fucked up.
fun.
Yes, Paul, try as we might, we don't always hit the airwaves with all of our facts quite as accurate as we'd like them to
Dear
be.
God, no.
Yes, so in the name of pseudo-journalistic integrity, which is as much integrity as we can muster, we'd like to set the record straight about a few facts we've sent the listeners' way over the past few weeks.
I think that would be best.
Yes.
think that would
So
be best.
last month, Paul, we kicked off our preview of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes by making a joke, as we're apt to do, about how many Apes movies have been made in this franchise, or how many make up this franchise. We had dubious counting skills, to say the least. Let's take a listen here.
Okay. There have been in total 9 Planet of the Apes movies.
I'm sorry, Paul. Are you sure there haven't been 11?
No, there's only 9. Well, you're probably counting your Planet of the Apes lunchbox and thermos.
Oh, that's right. They did make Lunchtime and Adventure.
We're hilarious.
That did happen.
I find us funny. Yay, us!
Ooh, applause break in the show.
Us.
This is weird.
I'm into us this week.
But in there was a screw up. Right?
There was.
Yeah.
It was haphazardly given because Paul took the Tim Burton remake and the 2 reboot films and then added them to the box set of the early movies that he has.
Yeah.
So that's what. And if you take just a quick glance, that looks like 6, but the set actually included the original 5, but a bonus behind-the-scenes disc that doesn't actually qualify.
Yeah,
as
I looked. I saw 6 DVDs. If only there was an internet where I can look these things up.
someday.
Instead of
someday.
counting. Yeah.
So there are, just to set the record straight, there are not 9 Planet of the Apes movies. Rather, there are 8.
Woo!
And
I'm
we
glad I
do
know that.
regret our error greatly.
Yes. See, I included the bonus disc erroneously, and I could also say I included the Burton remake erroneously. But this probably affected Adam most, as he did his due diligence as a movie guy and recently watched the entire franchise as part of his ramp up to Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. How did that go?
I'm still working my way up.
So you haven't seen Dawn yet?
I haven't seen Dawn yet. I'm up to Tim Burton, and I got to do Tim Burton and then Rise, and then I can go. And sometimes I do these ramp ups and miss the movie.
That's
I
what
did that
I was
with
gonna
Twilight.
say. You're gonna miss. Well, that's okay.
Still haven't seen the last
You're gonna miss it
Twilight.
in the theater. You might want to see it in the theater.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
want to go see it in the theater. And
Well, it'll
you
be
know,
in the cheap house by the time you get to it. That's good.
well, the cheap house is great. I told you the one in here in North Hollywood is really great because people yell shit, and they were way into it. Like you're going to go for a rude audience there, and you just
Perfect.
accept it that people are going to be like, "Yeah, get him!" But like, who does that? Like at the ArcLight, they're a little too behaved.
That's cool.
So maybe that'll be fine if I see it.
So the question remains: you do this when a franchise hits 4. Obviously, the Twilight
Yes.
franchise is not too exciting, or you'd be dying to know how it ends.
Yeah, well, I did my duty. I
Yeah,
watched
you
the
did your
4,
duty.
and then I was like, whatever.
So how is the Step Up franchise coming?
That is the question.
I was brought to my attention recently
Yeah.
that there are now 5 Step Up movies.
And not no bullshit ones. All theatrical releases.
all theatrical. Yeah, you're right. Good point.
Yeah, otherwise you'd be spending much of your time watching Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen videos.
I
Like
gotta
20 of
finish
those.
A billion of those.
Here's a little hint for you. I don't know if you can do this. I'm not sure how strict you are about how you watch the movie, but dancing girls the women are usually really super hot. So what I would do if I were you is I'd put on music I actually like and turn the sound down and just watch hot chicks jump around.
That's how I get through The Spirit. You ever seen that movie?
No.
The worst movie you've ever seen with the sound on, and a pretty good one with the sound
There you
off.
go.
Pretty good.
I've seen a lot of
Perfect.
those on airplanes.
Me too, and I refuse to put the headset in. I just try to figure out what's going on.
I don't have $3 to buy the headset.
Well, after
I will
we
then. I'll watch
get
them.
your Terrence Howard impersonation, we'll check in on the Step Up movies and see how you're doing.
Oh God, I am working on Terrence Howard because I've watched a lot of Terrence Howard this week at work.
All right, what else did we get wrong, Lee?
Sadly, Paul, there are other things we
No.
did get wrong. We also previewed Brett Ratner's Hercules a few weeks back.
Why did we
and
do that?
Probably peeved off a few historians and anthropology professors with this particular line. The king of Thrace enlists Hercules to help him get rid of a tyrannical. That's a type of bread. I love the tyrannical.
Yeah,
You goofball.
You corrected yourself. by the way.
Tyrannical warlord, and it's up to Hercules to succeed where others have failed, sort of like this franchise. Sorry, Paul.
so-
For the replay back, you couldn't have gotten rid of that mistake. I mean, you could just
Play out the whole
It was
show.
kind of the best part of the
If the
joke.
bit is we got something wrong and you left that in.
But that's not the mistake. Am I right?
No, that's
That was
you would
great.
think that mispronunciation was the mistake. But in that clip, you
There's
heard us
more.
refer to the king of the geographical region of southeastern Europe as the king of Thrace,
Yeah.
when it should actually be the king of Thrace, as in
King of Thrace.
Thracians.
Who are no doubt upset.
So
Opposed to the Thracians. There's just 3 of those.
we can take those guys.
We can take those guys.
So in a very special retraction, we want to apologize to literally everyone who has seen Hercules. And so if you give us a moment, we'll do that right now. Mark Brewer, Ezra Reynolds, Janet McKinsey, Laura Skillicorn, and Paul Greer, we apologize. And finally,
That's
Paul.
good.
Well, that covers everyone that saw it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought it would take longer, but what was I thinking?
No. And finally, Paul, regretfully, this happened.
Dustin Hoffman dodged a bullet by not taking this role that Robin Williams took.
Oh, well, that could be any awful movie. RV.
Adams.
Close. It's with a P.
Man of the Year.
No.
The year. Robot.
Oh,
Robin
God.
Williams.
Jack. Not Jack.
No. Toys. No.
One where he's in a gorilla got Seth
sorry,
Green.
Hey, you gorillas, put down Seth Green.
Old dogs.
It's
Old
a movie.
dogs.
Yikes.
Oh my God, I'm such a dickhead.
We didn't know.
I'm such a dickhead.
We didn't know.
No, you know what? This happened before he,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
See the pain.
Well, I'm just
such an
saying, do you
asshole.
think he caught our Friday show?
Lee.
God, well, it would be further incorrect to say that Robin Williams never made a bad film. But, man, do we feel bad about going off like that. So, to make things right, not only are we going to retract last week Dustin's Hoffman birthday segment, but now we'd like to talk about the best Robin Williams movies ever made.
All right, we can name just as many.
Yes.
Fisher King.
Oh God, yeah.
How
Fisher
great a movie
King.
is that?
Oh
You
my God, I
probably
love
forget.
it. Just
Moscow?
watch that.
Best part about a Robin Williams career is that there's a bunch you forgot because we're already you're like, oh, Fisher King. That's
Fisher
right.
King. I know.
Oh,
Moscow on the
Awakenings.
Hudson was a pretty good one.
I never saw
That was when he was at his hairiest, if you ask me.
true.
I mean, I've always been a fan of Popeye. I just watched Popeye. Of course, they didn't know how to make movies back then, but whatever. It's still very enjoyable.
Yeah, even Altman didn't know how to make that movie.
Well, yeah.
I really liked What Dreams May Come.
And my friend Paul back in college, he worshipped that movie.
That movie
yeah?
What
messes
Dreams May
with
Cry
your
and
brain.
cry at that movie.
I've always
Yeah.
wanted to see it. I've heard it's a visual spectacle.
It is that.
It
a
is.
feast for the eyes, as we like
It
to
is.
call it.
Sometimes I didn't want to
Eye-feasting.
see Robin Williams be that serious, but of course he had ones that I did like. But that one I was like, oh God, he's so fucking serious. And I mean, that's a serious movie. He goes to heaven and hell and
You ever see Survivors?
No.
Walter Matthau?
oh, I
An
think
old
I did.
70s comedy?
Yeah.
Mrs. Doubtfire. Mrs. Doubtfire is my favorite,
Oh, yeah.
and I think that's a quintessential Robin Williams movie where you really look at it and think, who else could have done that?
No shit.
We still quote the line when he's calling around trying to
Yeah.
fuck with Sally Field
Yeah.
with the
It's
job, with the people calling in for the job.
Yeah.
He just calls her up and goes, I am job. And she's like, what? I am Job. And she just hangs up.
Well, yeah, that is the quintessential Robin Williams movie because it begins with him doing all those cartoon voices.
Yeah.
He's a cartoon voiceover guy, which is an amazing. So you almost practically kind of get Aladdin at the beginning of that movie, and then then there's
Aladdin.
stuff. Then he plays all those characters in the phone call thing. He's of course plays regular Robin Williams being fun with his kids. Of course, he has an emotional moment. Then of course the character of Mrs. Doubtfire, and all of the times he has to switch back and forth. And I mean, it's like, well, it's kind of.
Did we say Good Morning Vietnam?
Oh yeah.
Right?
We can briefly.
So
yeah. I think I might mention it, but yeah, go on, please. Great movie. Oscar nomination for him.
I think both of us did morning announcements at that time, and it both had to say,
I was going to mention
Good
that.
morning, whatever city or school we were.
The movie prompted me to do the morning announcements in my school, and I
Yeah.
did them all crazy. They let me do it like twice, and they were done because I was cracking jokes and calling people
Did you
out.
do the announcements, Adam?
I did not.
I
was
did
not the
announcements. I
announcements
did the
kid.
same shit.
I did the same thing.
I had horns and
Yeah.
bells and shit. I was doing a whole big thing.
awesome.
It was a 4-minute radio show.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, we got
They're
class
like, you
get
need to
to.
stop doing this.
God, I wish I had.
Yeah.
That would've
And
been
I mean,
awesome.
1 hour photo. I mean, it's more
yeah.
Robin
Oh,
Williams.
it's
but
so
that's
good.
It's good Robin. That's the movie in which I saw him. It's the only time I ever saw him. With Q&A after that screening.
never seen him live.
And it's this dark movie, and he comes out, and he's like this full-on comedy. He never sits down. He's running around doing shtick.
Insomnia.
Even though it was a serious
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
Great film.
Now, was that a great film? He was good in
Yes.
it, but didn't Pacino's hair kind of distract everybody?
That movie is Pacino's hair proof. That's how good Insomnia is.
Now, Lee, he had his insomnia hair on.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
That's right. Okay, you're right.
To your point.
I should have recognized what he was doing. That was before the time.
I
but-
think we should appreciate any time after Big Boy Caprice that he's not been Big Boy Caprice. He's kind of a little toned down in that movie,
super toned down. He's half asleep in half the movie. He had no choice.
The Robin Williams thing you just did where you kind of went, oh, hey, and you started to giggle. So everybody's seen on Facebook all these different memorials and stuff for him. And one person mentioned that, I can't remember who it was, but that whenever Robin Williams would do something crazy and he'd be in the middle of doing all these characters, he'd giggle as if he were enjoying watching all this come out of his face too. And when I think about it, I'm like, he totally did that. He would do some crazy shit and then be like, what happened? What just came out of my face?
That's one of my regrets, though, not seeing him live in a small room. Can you imagine that in a small room?
There's a video online. Someone did that.
Yeah, Robert Buscemi,
Buscemi.
friend of the
Buscemi.
show, was at the.
Amazing.
Was he at Meltdown?
That's no. This
it
is
was
back
in
in Chicago. It's a tiny bar. I can't remember the name of it right now, but yeah, he just went in and hung out at the bar all night and went up and I think he might have improvised. There was improvisers going on there.
No, he showed up at Meltdown once. He recently showed up at I.O. With friend of the show,
Frank Coyote.
Yeah.
Improvised with him. Now, can you imagine you're about to do your improv show at I.O. and here comes Robin Williams. Hey, I'm going to sit in with you guys. Like,
That'd be
holy
amazing.
shit.
Yeah. No
Wow.
pressure. No pressure.
Unlike a lot of people who have passed away and I have no connection to them or whatever, it's like interesting. It's like, God, we have friends who have Robin Williams stories. You know? It's like, he's actually, Mork and Mindy was my jam, by the way. That show was awesome.
Even late?
Yeah.
Even Jay Thomas, Mork and Mindy, right?
I remember Jay Thomas, Mork and Mindy. Yeah.
Wow.
And that was the
Jonathan
power
Winters?
block. Yes, absolutely. I absolutely watched all the way through Jonathan Winters. That was a great one.
Me too.
That was a great thing because on Orc, people age backwards. So he was a baby. I mean, what a great concept. You're going to shake your show up and do the classic thing of adding a baby in the late season.
I love that.
That's the opposite
Jonathan
thing.
Winters.
60-year-old baby.
I can respect
exactly.
that.
And
So
I interrupted you
point.
for a second, but you were going on about the power block. That was.
Yeah, that was Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Three's Company, and Mork and Mindy.
That was a great
Boom! Get addicted to TV, Adam. Right there, man. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good stuff. That was a power block right there.
Now, as you heard, we kick off every show
Laverne.
with the movie guys love movies. We do. We want all movies to be great, and we certainly don't want the last things we say about a filmmaker or actor to be negative. So glad we did a little mea culpa there. So in order to prevent that actually from happening again, because you never know who's going to just up and leave us in this world,
Right.
we'd like to say a few nice things about the following celebrities. Not that we've heard anything.
No.
But just in case.
To make sure they don't die?
In a tribute
Is that it?
segment we call Before They're Dead.
Oh, God.
Well, it's not necessarily preemptive in preventative, Karen.
Oh.
It's just we're just going to take a moment.
We
make
are not
sure.
in control,
Yeah.
but
All right.
should, let's say, Nicolas Cage leave us?
Oh, Nick.
I don't want it to be like that we crapped all over his last movie.
So
I hope he knows how much we appreciate all he's done. That's all we want
What
to say.
movies did you like of
Mostly in
Nicolas
the 80s, but
Cage?
yes.
Drive Angry. No, I'm just going to compliment everything. I just don't want him to pass away. Drive Angry. Great movie, right?
Raising Arizona
Yeah.
and
Oh,
Moonstruck are
true.
givens, but, Kiss of Death.
We just want to make sure that people know that they're appreciated now.
I
Karen.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you told me what movies he was in.
Face Off.
Joel Schumacher.
Yeah.
What?
I liked Car Wash. We just wrote that.
The number 27.
Did he do that?
Is that the number?
Oh, we love Jim Carrey.
Well, yeah. And that's Joel Schumacher.
Jim Carrey. Hey, we love that guy.
What's your favorite Jim Carrey movie?
Actually, Liar Liar and or the original Ace Ventura.
Ace Ventura. That original Ace Ventura.
All right, I'll give you that.
Holy
But I do like
shit.
Liar Liar.
I laughed so hard.
So
So that's two.
actually,
Dane Cook. I ran into him the other day at a grocery store. I just want him to know, love ya.
Planes,
All right.
Fire and Rescue.
What is his movie that you love?
Planes.
Fire and Rescue.
Planes.
Secret of the Ooze.
Just curious.
Secret of the Ooze.
I'm
By the
learning
way,
so much.
Speaking of Joel Schumacher, I have made my peace with Batman and Robin, and I will trumpet this to the heavens.
You have.
I
More
have.
than
I'll
anybody
watch
else.
it.
That's
I watch
nice.
it because I always ramp up before superhero movies come out, and I have my spade of things I decide to watch before I go see a superhero movie. And actually, it started long before. Well, okay, Captain America's coming out, so of course you watch Captain America, Avengers, But long before this, if Blade was coming out, I'd get excited by watching whatever.
Because here's the point. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
But no, I still watch Batman and Robin, and it is the only big screen adaptation of the Adam West TV show. Go ahead, Lee.
No, I just want to make sure that we, because Karen, I hope
just-
you understand what we're doing here.
Well,
We just
like-
want to make sure that people are being told how much they're loved and appreciated,
Well,
just in case.
You have Charlie Sheen on the list. Now, what do you guys like about him?
Oh, Platoon, Wall
yeah.
Street.
We don't want him
His
to.
catchphrases.
The
We don't want
Rookie.
people to. He's winning.
Winning.
that's
I
good.
gotta have a reason to wear my #winning T-shirt from
Yeah.
Fred 57.
I feel
Fred
better about
29
this
or
now
whatever
that
it
I
is.
know how much you love these guys.
Well,
I
that's
feel
just
like
all we
I
want
get
to,
it.
We just want to send love out to anybody who's listening that might be doubting how much they're loved.
Wait, and finally, Lee.
Good.
Lee, I should say it's been a pleasure to work with you.
Oh yeah, class act all the way right here, Lee Kais.
Lee is sincere, he's genuine, honest, and inspiration to all of us. Not just us, but like us as in the world.
Yeah.
Oh,
Us.
thank you guys. That's amazingly nice. Wait a second. Do you mean? Oh.
All right, enough retract.
I see what you did there.
All right, let's get on to our first movie for the love
I'm
of
glad you
God,
sold the
shall we?
premise right before the end there.
What?
I'm glad you sold
He
the
said
premise
it.
right there. 'cause I was off on a Batman thing.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's what I
yeah,
had to
Lee's
bring
getting
it
the premise.
He was wrapping it up so we could go for the joke.
Exactly.
Good boy, good boy.
I need to set Paul up.
What's Lee going on about?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the script.
And I didn't have a chance to read the script. I didn't have a chance to read the script, so I played the character who doesn't know what's going on as I figured out what the fuck was going on. So it worked nicely.
We're allowing you a
Otherwise, it
little
would be
behind the
Adam going
scenes
on
here.
about Batman and then Paul going, "It's nice working with you, Lee."
Good call. Good call. Well, that's been a good show, guys. I really enjoyed that.
We have 3 movies.
What?
Oh shit!
The Expendables 3. This movie is like a class reunion where things explode. Who got fat? Who's still fuckable? Who went to jail? Adam, let's find out.
Fat, pregnant, and bald. That's what you find out when you go to a reunion.
Right.
You like plots? Good, because Expendables 3 doesn't have one of those. And even if it did, you couldn't hear it over the explosions. And even if things weren't exploding, who could make out what these mushmouths are saying anyway?
Who are you? Who are you?
That'll just go on underneath you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, all your favorite unintelligible accents are back again to blow shit up and dispense justice with a smile.
Now, when Sylvester Stallone started the Expendables series, the goal was to bring together all of the action heroes from scores of classic 80s action movies. With the third installment of the series, the goal is to just bring back the cast of Expendables 2.
Don't play that for me again.
Because of our
But with each Expendables movie, several new classic action stars join the cast, and the latest movie is no exception, as it features so many sweaty chests and bulging biceps that Chick-fil-A has come out against its right to marry.
I feel that
This Expendables movie expands the action concept to include 4 of the actually respectable action stars of the 80s. Wesley Snipes, Antonio Banderas, Mel Gibson, and Harrison Ford. Once again begging the question, how much of an asshole is Steven Seagal?
I feel that it's
And
Something
Bruce
has-
Willis also stars as the greedy prima donna pain in the ass. His ego's too big to share this much screen time with other people. Here's a clip.
With this much muscle in one movie, you need to see it on the big screen.
Not surprisingly, this is the outline upon which the script was written. As a matter of fact, I think this is the script.
Act 1, Stallone, Arnold, and Ford kick down the door and start spraying bullets.
Act 2, Statham, Banderas, and Terry Crews kick down the door and start spraying bullets.
Act 3, Snipes, Lundgren, and Ronda Rousey kick down the door and start spraying bullets.
One scene I saw was of all the Expendables going to a prison and busting Wesley Snipes out. I don't believe that was actually a clip from the film. That was just Wesley Snipes' version of having a limo sent to bring him to the set.
One thing that's not a throwback is the rating. This Expendables adventure is now rated PG-13, so kids of all ages over 13 can enjoy the movie. Now, the last time Stallone went PG-13 was a Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, so I think that bodes well. Yeah.
This is the third installment of a franchise you could have sworn had 5 sequels. And in this installment, they usher in a new generation of Expendables. So most of the movie takes place at a Starbucks and on iPads.
Yeah.
Reports are now saying that Stallone wants an all-female version of the Expendables, the Expendables.
It's true.
Where the women... Clever, isn't it? That's actually the tagline for it. Where the women fight crime by dressing as hookers. And we wonder why Gina Davis still runs an institute on gender in media.
There you go. That's the Expendables 3.
Who, by the way,
Gina Davis?
should be in the Expendables because she kicked ass in Long Kiss Goodnight.
Long Kiss Goodnight, one of the most underrated movies.
I would not be surprised if she's in the mix.
Dude, Sam Jackson. I mean, of the top, 10 things he's done, or top 5 almost, he's great in that movie.
Yeah.
God.
Just wanted to point out you immediately went to a different movie. I mean, you
wow, this movie's already
you
in
started
its
the
title.
sentence talking about this movie, and then immediately talked about Long Kiss Goodnight is amazing. Ended the sentence in a different movie. I respect that.
Expendables.
That's true.
Who else would
how
be in
much
the
of that is
Expendables?
true? How much of what
It's
you
true. They want to make a...
Really?
Oh, that
Oh,
really
sure.
grumpy-looking girl from Lost will be in it. She's
Michelle Rodriguez.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yes, she's...
Grumpy
And she's
looking.
You'll
fucking
get Zoe
grumpy.
Saldana, maybe. You know, you'll get
Oh, the one that was in
China.
that China. The one that was the one that was in that space movie where she played the scientist. Her.
Hey, what was that kickboxing chick from straight-to-video
shit.
movies in the 80s? She should be in it.
Scientist?
Do you remember that? Does anybody remember that?
remember her name.
Oh, fuck. You're never going to be able to look that up.
well, we got
Sigourney
nothing.
Weaver?
No. The one that had straight bangs and she played the alien-looking girl.
Mia Jovovich?
Mia, yeah,
Oh,
she'll
yeah.
be in it.
She'll be in it.
Oh, yeah.
She kicks ass all over the place.
Lori Petty would be in this 20 years ago, right?
20 years ago.
Nah.
Tank
she
Girl?
wasn't
Tank
really.
Girl?
But
League of
that's
Their
it.
Own?
That's it for her, right? Or was
Yeah.
she in...
I think Harrison Ford, every time you see him, he's in the flight suit. He's in one scene in this movie.
He's in
am I
one
right?
scene in
Because
this
he's
movie.
in one costume in the preview is what you're thinking?
But hey, cast him as a pilot.
Mechanism.
What I think is great is I didn't know who the cast was. Again, I didn't pay attention. But what I loved is that they were hearing the ums and ahs. I knew one of them was Harrison Ford. I'm like, that's Harrison Ford's
He's got a famous
You know who's been on all 3 of these? I didn't realize. I think I might be wrong, just as everyone's looking at me. Terry Crews.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
No,
know.
he is.
When I,
I
saw
should
him in
see
this
that.
preview, I'm like, oh, that's who they're bringing in.
Yeah,
So
which is an
who-
interesting
I like
choice
Terry
because he's
Crews.
such a funny guy
Yeah.
in most of his choices, and which is also counter to his look. He's such a huge tough guy. So now they finally put him in a big tough guy movie, and and he's been on
Brooklyn
all 3.
Nine-Nine?
Yep.
Great show.
Everybody hates Chris.
No.
Dolph Lundgren.
Who was in Ninja 3 The Domination? That's not part of the subject.
It's not Brigitte Nielsen.
Oh, Brigitte Nielsen.
yeah.
No, there was a famous kickboxer chick, and she was in all these straight-to-video movies, and it would be a great reference to
Not
have had
Rousey?
it 2 minutes ago.
That would have been great. Right there with my
Creeping up-
stupid
creeping
thing,
up on
Mila
5.
Jovovich.
Gibson will be great in this, though, right? Because he's great.
How great. God, I wish he weren't crazy because I can't stop loving him.
Yeah.
But he plays the bad guy in this, right?
And he's the bad guy. Yeah, I think it's Bruce Willis was going to be that part until he dropped out. It was
Was he
the-
going to turn on him or something?
Yeah, well, he was like a guy who used to use an LA term, cast the Expendables. I don't know. He put the missions together.
He holds a session. He rents
He
a
He,
room.
holds
he
Session.
produces it.
Got to bring in a
We
monologue.
got to produce this mission.
We got to produce a mission. We're going to cast
You're
it.
good.
Dolph, what is your monologue from?
How many villains did Mel Gibson play before he went crazy?
Oh, man, that's
Because
tough.
he's now played a bunch of them, which is great. I like it. I like when someone goes villain, and they rarely do once they're as popular as he was.
Well, maybe that's why he had to go villain in real life, so we could
he
make
did
that
go,
bridge.
you're right. He did go villain in real
Yeah.
I
life.
don't think many.
That poor guy. He must be so.
Rich.
All right, next up.
Yeah, that was perfect. I don't think you can come back from that awesomeness.
From the science fiction mind that gave you most of your ideas as a freshman writing student comes The Giver. Karen?
In a world, okay, my chair, there we go. In a world without war, differences, or choice, one boy is chosen to learn the truth about the pain and pleasure of the real world. And this leads to unintended but completely predictable consequences as the reality about life spreads throughout the community, spurring an uprising in otherwise previously peaceful, albeit banal, civilization. So in short, some kid gets told a bunch of stuff and then runs his mouth about it. The end. Hope I didn't give everything away there.
You may have, but who cares? This isn't a real movie.
Paul, is it based on a book?
My mistake. Yeah. It is a real movie.
The Giver tells another story of another futuristic society that has banned emotions. I guess whoever runs the place has lived through just one too many Oscar seasons and said, screw this. From now on, we're showing only planes, fire, and rescue.
In a move that every creative writing 101 professor can get behind, the society keeps everyone in line by giving them injections. Then one day, Ethan Hawke from Gattaca, or Christian Bale from Equilibrium, or THX 1138, or whoever decides to stop taking them, allowing him to finally feel what we all feel when we watch kitten videos on YouTube.
The kid decides that all of society should appreciate Tears of a Clown by Smokey Robinson as much as he does, and sets out to put the shard back in the dark crystal, or whatever.
The movie stars Meryl Streep, Jeff Bridges, and even goes so far as to have other actors in it. Way to go, movie.
Very bold of them.
Jeff Bridges plays the title role. He's the giverer. So that's what you call him, you know, that or his giverness or the giverer or the old giverino, if you're not into that whole brevity thing.
I'm the dude, so that's what you call me.
And as we mentioned, The Giver co-stars film legend Meryl Streep, who can now add Angelica Houston wig to her ever-growing list of characters.
Oh, the film also features Taylor Swift.
Who gives a shit?
I think reenacting the pitch meeting for this is rather easy.
Hello, I'm Lois Lowry. I wrote The Giver, and I think it's going to be pretty good as a film. What do you say, Weinstein Company?
Okay, explain me the plot.
It's a world of black and white until someone sees color.
Pleasantville, seen it.
No, but it's not the past. It's a future devoid of emotions.
Like The Matrix, next.
But there aren't machines. This future is overlorded by a person.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it, because I'm the guy who never saw The Truman Show.
Well, in that, Truman was unaware of what was going on until the end. Here, one man discovers humanity's plight and
tries to free everyone. Blah, blah, blah. The island, blah, blah, blah. Surrogates, blah, blah, blah.
It's a young adult novel.
Really?
You've been greenlit!
There you go. That's all I needed to hear. Young adult fiction.
I love Paul's enthusiasm in that drop.
You've been greenlit!
Play it again.
It's good stuff.
You've been greenlit!
I think
you have a cigar in your hand. When you
I
do
held
that.
a fake cigar when I said it. I had to, right?
Object work.
Anyway, I saw the panel for this at Comic-Con.
There was a panel at Comic-Con for this?
For The Giver? Yeah. Bridges came
Young
out.
Big
adult
deal,
is
man.
huge.
Lois
Young adult
Lowry
is
came out.
gigantic.
You're right.
Yeah, there were half the crowd had heard of the book.
Did
They're reading it in schools.
Daniels go into his whole story about how he was one of the
Bridges?
one of the main forces behind getting this made because his daughter was reading it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's been trying to make this movie for 18 years.
He had a lot of trouble getting this made. Can you believe it? He had to wait
Well, it's
till
slower these
everyone.
days.
Yeah. He had to wait till everyone was jumping on the it's been printed, so we're going to do it as a movie bandwagon.
Yeah, no shit. There must be 12 of these, right? They wait till there's 12 of them, or maybe the authors write 12 of these in a year. I don't know.
I don't
There
know.
are others, yeah, because yeah, she had hinted at the next movie and how
Of
the
course.
endings changed a little so they can get to the next book. And I don't know. It's
Did you say Meryl Streep is in there?
Yeah.
she is in
Yeah.
this.
That
yeah.
makes me suspicious. I don't like that.
Have I seen
What?
that?
That makes you suspicious?
It makes me wonder why she's slumming it.
Well,
I don't know. It might not be slumming it.
know what,
I
this
Do you
think
think it's going to be
I
good?
think it's a vote of
She
confidence
doesn't have
for
to
any
do
movie.
shit.
this is just another volley in the Meryl Streep Glenn Close war because Glenn Close just did
Snowpiercer.
no, she
No,
just did
Captain
Guardians.
America. Guardians of the Galaxy.
And Meryl's like, screw you, I'm doing The Giver. So
Yeah.
she
I'm putting on some spandex too.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
This might be the
Meryl-
one time Glenn wins. Not for an Oscar, of course, but at the box office, she'll
Yeah.
probably have the last
but Meryl
laugh.
won't let her have a single summer to herself ever.
Girl. I like Meryl.
Bitch.
Also, the fact that Meryl's in this means I have to go see it.
Wow.
Ugh.
I have no
But here's
interest.
what's interesting. Like,
Yes.
it seems like there's no emotions in the future.
All of a
right?
sudden you perk up, yes?
So this guy, I don't know why. It seems like he gets rewarded by Meryl Streep with learning memories from the giver. So Jeff Bridges gives him memories. But if she's so controlling over everyone's world in the future, why does she want the guy to look at the
Right.
memories
It
of the
doesn't make
past when
any
it's
sense.
awesome? Because he'll only get pissed and start a revolution and try and wake
Also,
everybody up.
Jamie, help me with this, but isn't one of the things that we women do is just bring up things from the past? Why would we take that one power that's like a superpower we have? Why would we take that away from ourselves?
The whole premise
Right?
of this movie is, look, I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but
But come here, lean in.
Memories? What?
Might start a revolution, but,
But,
come
lean
closer.
in.
look, no one's ever supposed to see this, but let me show you some really cool shit.
All right, well, let's get to our
It's like a
final
drug dealer.
Our final
Yeah.
film here of the weekend. What would happen if a couple of guys dressed up and pretended to be cops? Well, you get the Rampart division in Hollywood. But if you're a comedy, then you're Let's Be Cops. Lee?
Why, thank you for that.
I thought you were going to start playing YMCA right there.
Let's Be Cops stars Jake Johnson from New Girl and Damon Wayans Jr. from New Girl. And it's from a casting director located presumably in the same building where they produce New Girl. What, Zooey Deschanel didn't want to take the part of Jacquanade? Is that how you pronounce Jacquanade? What is it?
Shaquande.
Probably
I think.
Shaquande. Yeah.
Oh, Shaquanda?
Shaquanda.
That's Shaquanda? I've never seen Shaquanda.
Well, I don't
In
know if that's how
writing.
you always spell Shaquanda. I just looked it up on IMDb of the funniest name that was in it.
Could you please next time phonetically maybe? Because this is
Oh, yeah, you're right.
this looks pretty French.
Shaquanda. Here, I'm going to work on it right now.
How would that
It
going.
looks like a dessert at like a Dairy Queen.
We'll check back in with Adam in a moment.
It does.
Shaquan.
In Let's Be Cops, Justin, played by Jake Johnson, and Ryan, played by Damon Wayans, too, dress up like cops to go to a costume party, only to find out that dressing like that allows you special perks, like driving fast and shooting whoever you want in St. Louis.
Lamangino.
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 Oh, man, I like a little
Jaquande.
Lamangino on my ham sandwich.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
here we
That's
go.
the best.
How's this? J-U-H
Jaquan. See?
space
Duh.
K-W-A-N space
Jaquanda.
Jaquanda.
Yeah.
Yeah. So say that.
Arangelo Lamangelo. Jaquanda. There
Nice.
you go.
Jaquanda.
We are white!
Addicted to their new power as police officers, the two go as far as they can with the concept, including making their own cop car and posing for Hot Cops calendar. But when actual crime happens, the duo learns that with fake power comes great responsibility.
Having to actually become the thing you're dressed as must strike fear into everyone at Halloween dressed like Miley Cyrus.
Now, most of the movie is just the two lead characters getting hit in the nuts and then hitting other guys in the nuts.
Sure.
Paul, is this based on a book?
No fucking way.
Wow, who'd have thought? Tiresome, the movie, looks like it's mostly retreaded moments from other comedies. For example, hey, remember that scene in Borat where he gets trapped under the crotch of a fat, sweaty guy? You thought that was funny, didn't you? Yeah, so did they. That's why it's in this movie.
Oh.
It also has the obligatory things like an adult male schooling kids at sports and a Wayne's brother.
Rob Riggle continues his year of showing up in things as a cop because apparently that's the law in Hollywood.
It's wall-to-wall chaos. No room for a plot, but that doesn't matter. We did mention that guys get hit in the nuts a lot, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, there is some plot. After pretending to be cops, their cover is blown, kind of, by mobsters who realize they aren't cops but assume they must be either DEA, ATF, or some other three-lettered agency that's out to shut down organized crime. This forces the fake cops to go fake undercover and pretend to be cops, pretending to be gangsters.
What?
Confused? Well, don't worry. There's lots of nut shots to keep you amused. we mentioned that already, right?
You did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yelling and punching. It's what Wayans brothers do. Let's play a highlight reel from the trailer.
Please freeze! Oh!
Control the situation! That's what you get!
Oh, yeah. Ooh, that's how it always starts. But then later there's running and screaming.
There you go.
Oh my God. You know, whenever you're doing special effects in Hollywood, to those who might not know this, a lot of the punches and stuff is hitting grapefruits or hitting melons and that kind of stuff. And as soon as you started playing this, I just visualized a Gallagher concert. It just sounds like a bunch of fruit and vegetables getting hit.
Do you remember on HBO, when HBO was first launched, they they didn't have wall-to-wall movies, and so they would come up with these little like interstitials in between to fill the half-hour gap or 45-second minute gap, whatever. And there was this one that they kept playing. It was like 12 minutes of what it's like to be a Foley artist.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing. Yeah.
And it was just guys punching lettuce and breaking boards over their head and walking down the hallway and pretending to. Yeah, no one else.
I've been to the Foley stage at Universal, and they were proud of how old some of their stuff was. Like, this is the floor of the orca from Jaws, and we walk on it whenever we need to make like a sound that's like a boat or something.
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
they've got they got everything in either, and it's a small room, but they could do anything in there. They could duplicate any sound pretty much.
Pretty cool.
Including for all the comedy and Let's Be
So
Cops.
immediately we talked about something else again.
Well, that's what we do.
You know, that reminds me of something we liked, HBO.
That guy Jake Johnson seems funny. I don't watch New Girl.
That's a funny show. It's a funny show.
Is it funny?
What's the show?
Yeah, New Girl.
With the bangs.
Oh.
Girl with the bangs.
New Girl's a funny show? What am I thinking of? Oh, Two Broke Girls. Sorry.
Yeah. Less
Supposed to be a funny show, too.
Oh, have you seen that show?
No.
Well, the weird thing
You're
about
in
that
charge of
show. Here we launch into a whole new topic. The weird thing about that show is the weird thing about Two Broke Girls is it's two actresses who should be the person who has the funny thing to say after someone else in the room has said something logical or plot oriented or whatever. So it's just those two people delivering the plot. That's an odd.
So is it a
concept.
bunch of like winking and
like the one girl from Thor that always like something happens, and then she goes, "No, that's Thor." You know, or whatever she says.
So everybody's always
It's
Kat Dennings.
super snarky. It's all snarky.
It's all snark.
It's
Can you
all
imagine all plot being delivered in snark? That's Two Broke Girls.
Oh, it's so painful to watch.
But these guys are funny. It's a good concept, actually. I kind of enjoy the concept.
I might watch this if I don't have to pay for it in any capacity.
Years ago, there was a shooting in West Hollywood during the parade, the West Hollywood Halloween parade, because a guy dressed like a cop had a gun that looked too realistic. And
So the cop shot him?
The cop shot him. So anytime I see people pretend to be cops, I'm just like, someone's going to die.
Wait a minute. They shot their own?
They shot a guy who was just walking along dressed like a cop because he had a gun that looked real.
Wow.
And they saw him and they were like, they didn't think he was a real cop, but they saw his gun was so real looking.
Got it.
By the way, here's how white the place I grew up in.
Yes.
We thought it'd be funny one night. We got cap guns. If we ran around and did drive-bys to all of our friends walking on the street.
Oh, Jesus.
Only to do a drive-by to a kid we knew from high school who just got out of jail. Who hops in his car and chases us. It was frightening.
Oh, my God.
Sounded like a good idea at the
Such
time.
a different time. When I was a kid, I had a set of handguns that were cap guns. And Gold Circles, where I bought these.
Gold Circle! That's where I bought my first
They
Star
were
Wars
the
action
most
figure.
realistic. They were metal. They were metal with a wooden handle. They looked like such real guns.
Oh, they did.
We had a guy over at the house doing work on our windows or something, and I had left my gun on the telephone desk out by the front door. And he's talking to my mom, and he finally pulls her aside, and he says, you know, ma'am, I don't mean to tell you how to raise your children, but you probably shouldn't leave this laying around the house. And my mom picks it up. She's like, oh, this is not, like classic sitcom moment where she's waving it around going, oh, this is nothing. And he's, it was when we were kids, that was what was cool, to get a gun that looked so real.
Now you can't get them without a little orange tip.
Yeah, a flower sticking out of the ass.
Yeah. Let's be cops.
Flower sticking out of the end.
All right. Well, yeah, I think we'll see that, and then we'll see Let's Be Parking Enforcement when that comes out. And
Let's Be Fire and Rescue.
Yeah.
Let's Be Fire.
I wouldn't mind
Cook,
watching
looking
Let's
for
Be
work.
Fire and Rescue. That's what guys should do. What are you dressing like a cop for? If you want to get laid, just put on a fireman's outfit.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you do.
Then you got to put out a fire.
It does make even not hot guys hot.
Oh my God, Scott Stoddard wore just a haphazard looking fireman's thing to a Halloween party. Numbers left and right. Oh my God,
And he's not hot.
You got very quiet.
So
you
to
all
that point, and
contemplated
he's
it.
not hot.
Yeah, to that point. That's what I put together, is that he's not
No,
hot.
I'm not saying it's hi, Scott.
Even this guy was able to work.
Even
that
I
guy.
met his costume.
Don't
was
worry, he
crap.
doesn't listen. He's a friend.
Don't tell him I said that, and let's
All right,
see if
it
he
is-
ever says
It is
anything.
guest time, for the love of God. And after this 10-second break, we'll return with this week's guest, Frank Woodward.
Frank
Hold
Woodward.
tight.
That's a lot of fun.
And not the other color, so police think they have the authority to kill a minority. Fuck that shit, cause I ain't the one for a punk motherfucker with a badge and a gun to be beat.
So white suburban. I know all of the
jail,
words
we
to
can go
this.
toe to toe in the middle of a sale.
All right, and we are back with this week's guest. What a great introductory song for our guest.
Yeah, he's going to want to have this go out to his mom and his friends, and he's like, now...
I want to walk in with this now. This is my entry music.
Yeah, right?
I think this is perfect.
The producer and director of Men in Suits, a great documentary about the unsung heroes of the acting world, the guys who act in cumbersome suits, whether it's Godzilla or Sweetums or Robbie the Robot. They're all represented in this great documentary. He also produced and directed Lovecraft, Fear of the Unknown. Frank Woodward is with us.
Hey, Frank.
Thank you for having me.
And I should mention Frank H. Woodward, right?
Yes, Frank H. Woodward. Talk
right into that.
Talk right into this thing. Need the microphone?
This is the guy behind the camera guy.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't really come from behind the camera. There's reasons, but H is for Homer of all things.
Don't.
Yeah, don't.
But there's a Frank D. Woodward out there, right?
There's a Frank D.
philosopher.
Woodward, and there's a famous movie caterer, Frank Woodward.
I saw that.
There's a famous. In fact,
Wait, is he famous?
He's really famous.
Oh,
He's
wow.
extremely famous. In fact, he was in the 3rd issue of Premiere Magazine. Anybody remember Premiere
I
Magazine?
have the 3rd issue.
I could go grab it right now.
Yeah, it was like in the 3rd issue, and I was so excited because I was in film school, and it was like, look, I'm in Premiere.
Oh,
And
that's
I was
sweet.
covering pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But,
He's so famous. He's
Infamous.
famous. I did meet him, actually. I met him.
Steve Martin?
No, yeah, Steve Martin. No. The other Frank Woodward.
Frank Woodward.
Oh, I was all excited. So I've gone off on a different subject. I'm sorry.
Woodwards collided.
Yeah, he did.
That's cool.
You want to hear some movie guy stuff? What was on the first issue of Premiere? Who was on the cover?
Dragnet?
Yeah, I know it was. That's so ridiculous. Fuck you, Paul, for knowing that. That's
I have. I'm telling you, I have it.
That's the whole point of this
Have
show.
the postcards that were inside.
I
You have the
do.
Postcards?
Yes.
Ah.
Wall Street and
But we
Off
met
Limits.
Frank because he's a movie guy, and it showed in a coffee shop where we were writing
yes.
jokes,
Yeah.
and we kept overhearing references, and we're like, nobody makes that reference, unless they're a movie guy.
No, you get me out in public with my friends. I think it was with my friend Jay. We were like screaming about Star Trek and socialism, which
Yeah.
Certainly. That's what you do at the Coral Cafe.
Yes.
Oh, wait. Is that where you were?
No, it was Republic of Pie.
That's right.
Better.
Now I remember.
It was even better.
I was like, Paul, I think we should talk to that guy. Because it was us, right? You and I were together. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about what we ask every guest who comes on the show. What is your favorite movie of all time?
You had told me this was coming, and I have many favorite movies, and obviously Raiders of the Lost Ark, Citizen Kane. These actually sit with me very big, but
all have been tossed around this table.
All have
with
been tossed
previous
around. But
guests.
here's one of my favorite films. It's The Day the Earth Caught Fire, directed by Val Guest. It's a British film.
Bert I. Gordon? Is that Bert I. Gordon?
No. At least I don't think so.
Okay. That's The Day the Earth Froze.
Maybe.
Anyway,
yeah.
go ahead.
Maybe.
Caught Fire. What's
Day
going
the
on?
Earth Caught Fire. It's a British film, and it's about basically how Russia and America both test nuclear weapons at the same time and shift the orbit of the planet. Ooh. And it sounds kooky and everything like that, but it's all told from a newsroom with this very front page dialogue and very rapid fire stuff. Janet Monroe, if you ever saw Darby O'Gill and the Little People, or Swiss Family Robinson, she was a Disney kid, but she's the sexiest thing on the planet in this movie.
She's
Absolutely.
my dear, my darling one, my smiling and beguiling one.
But yes, Day the Earth Caught Fire. If you've not seen it,
I have not.
highly recommend it.
Is that
Highly.
gettable? Is it?
I have it on DVD, but I know it's probably out of print.
Yeah.
But you can find it someplace. I'll loan it to you.
Amoeba's got to have
For
it.
some
Amoeba has
reason,
gotta have it, yes.
when you say that, for some reason, I just immediately think that there's like a train, and everybody's on the train, and it just keeps going around the world.
No,
He loves snow.
He loves
Only snow. We reviewed Snowpiercer a couple
I'm
weeks ago, and Karen sung the Shirley Bassey version of it.
I think mine was the Liza Minnelli version.
Even better.
That actually sounds like something that could happen. Like we accidentally blow up two things at this. And somebody was supposed to call the Russians and let them know we're doing this today.
Whoops.
It's absolutely a fantastic movie. I recommend it enough. If you can find it, find it. So yeah, that's my deep cut favorite film.
What movies got you into the topic of Men in Suits?
Well, I'm a horror science fiction geek anyway. I mean, I grew up on Star Wars like all of us and grew up on all that kind of thing. Men in Suits came about. We had done Lovecraft. We had made Lovecraft over at Weird. And we were trying to figure out...
Weird, your production company.
Yeah, Weird's our production company. Yes, over just some weird place. we just didn't know what to do next, and we try to pick stuff that's evergreen. We try to pick stuff that's not going to go old sitting on the shelf.
Right.
And we were talking about
passed up that Twilight documentary, right?
Yes, we came close. I had Robert Pattinson on the line. It was really good. But we were thinking about history of makeup, history of gore, or something like that. But that seemed too broad. And then one day I mentioned, what about the guys in the suits? And my film partner Bill went back to his wife and told her what we were thinking, and she's like, "Is that a job?" And then we knew we had a topic to do. And it very much is a job. And it's also, unfortunately, as much as Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is a wonderful movie, it's dying. It's going away.
That's why I say is the validity of the Tim Burton one which people forget. But it's like, hey, at least they made one modern one where people were in makeup instead of CGI.
And for me, that's what drives me nuts. I love the ape movies. And the one thing we've been doing great since the dawn of cinema is apes. And we've only gotten better at it. Even the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes, which is whatever, but it's great makeup.
Yeah.
Did the guys who played apes in 2001 ever get any love? Who are those guys?
Well, not much love, no. But you don't hear about them anymore. They're probably just somebody off doing London theater at the time.
Are they the same guy? Because in LA, people might know that there's something called the Loop Group. You guys know what the Loop Group is? And it's this very...
They do ADR, right?
They do ADR and looping for dialogue. And from what I understand, they're a very tight-knit group, and they're very well paid. But there's only like 8 or 12 of them, and they just don't share that work with anyone. Is that the same with Men in Suits?
Well, there's definitely a
do you need like the Andy Serkis of Men in Suits guy? I got to get this guy. He's the best Men in Suit.
Well, there's definitely some actors like that. Doug Jones, you have your Hellboy 2 poster over there.
Yeah.
And Doug Jones is one of the big guys. Brian Steele, Tom Woodruff Jr. We were talking about the Robin Williams movie, the Dustin Hoffman thing. Anytime the gorilla in that is Tom Woodruff Jr., who also played the alien in all like the sequel Alien 3, Alien vs. Predator, and he played Pumpkinhead for the people who are fans of Pumpkinhead.
And Doug Jones played almost all the characters in Pan's Labyrinth.
And Pan's Labyrinth, right. So those are some of your go-to guys. But there's also
He's
guys...
the Kevin Peter Hall of... there's a while that... There's a reference, right?
Take it down.
Did I nail that?
Is he the Predator?
Yeah. And Harry.
Harry and the Hendersons?
Yeah.
Harry and the Hendersons?
Yeah, Harry and the Hendersons, yeah.
Harry and the Andersons? No,
Harry
that's Night Court.
Well, this documentary is full of awesome footage.
Thank you.
Was any of it a struggle to get? I mean, you got everything. There's even a shot of Chewbacca in there. So
we had a shot of Chewbacca. I mean, I'm as a documentary filmmaker, you become very knowledgeable of fair use. Fair use is a very a passionate topic of mine, because obviously doing what I do, doing what you guys do. I mean, you have to be able to use little clips or something to comment on or make fun of or do whatever. And there's a very muddy clause in copyright law that's been thankfully to a lot of documentary filmmakers and entertainment lawyers, even though a lot of lawyers, you could take them or leave them, they've been really championing our rights to pull pieces of film. But the problem you have nowadays, and this is going to be so exciting for everybody at home, I know.
We could have you say this over the
Yeah. In fact, just play Harrison Ford while I just go on and on and on. I tell you what, if you're really, really interested, contact me through Facebook or whatever.
All right.
Well, you get away with it because it's editorial.
Well, editorial. I mean, it's for the point of a review, essay, satire. What have you? I mean, there's many things that can play. So.
That's way better.
I thought there was Harrison Ford snoring, and I was excited that you found that.
No, but actually, I think it is a little interesting to let other documentary filmmakers understand what you're able to accomplish and what you're able to do with this law. And I think you said fair use, and fair use is the reason things like Tosh.0 exist and Web Soup exist, because there's this allowance for editorial.
Commentary is
yes.
what it is? Yeah, it's commentary, right?
Any form of commentary.
That's what's referred to as editorial.
But even what you guys do with the satire.
I believe we get away with a lot of it, because...
Yeah, you do. The sound bites you're using and everything.
I have a note here. I was going to bring it up when we did What Did You See This Week? This is perfect. We actually just got an email, I think about 3 days ago. I saw it come by our feed, that we were told we could not have this one video on YouTube because we wouldn't be able to try to monetize it because we used a song by some weird rapper guy and Step Up All In. And they immediately saw that we used a bit of their song. Some guy like Wizza or some, I don't know, some crap.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, you'll have to see that. It made me laugh because of all the crap we play. that dude
That guy.
somewhere noticed that
Not
we used.
today.
And what probably happened is some intern someplace over at YouTube was paying attention that day and they caught it.
Actually, I have an
Who
answer for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually computer programs that scan YouTube,
yes.
and they
okay.
do recognition. So what happens is,
Why does Step Up All In give a shit?
because it fell into the library, and what they do automatically is they contact the publisher.
Probably because of a soundtrack tie-in. Actually,
Yeah.
there's probably a
That's what
separate
it
department.
was.
on
But
that.
there's software that YouTube runs. Everything you upload to YouTube gets sent through this filter. That's why it doesn't go automatically.
Right.
And if they detect copyrighted material, i.e. music most easily, they immediately contact you and say, hey, you're in violation of this. We're going to put a banner on this thing, and every time somebody clicks on that banner, we're giving that money to the publisher. If you can prove to us that you have permission from the publisher, we'll take that banner down and you'll get some of
Well,
that money.
he's going to get a
Most of
lot of
their-
money from
Most
our
importantly,
listeners.
do we get hits every time they run that thing through the scanner?
But the
Now,
truth is
that was
music-
boring.
No, but you're right. But he's absolutely right. Look, music's a weird animal anyway when it comes to this. I mean, there are court cases that say that music is under fair use as well. But the problem is that because music's the performer, because it's also the publisher, and because it's also the writer, there's so many hands.
It's a singular artist, right, as opposed to a movie.
Well, but even a movie is at least a singular copyright owner is more to the point,
Yeah.
I think. Whereas a song, all those people can own rights to it, so it gets a little bit more muddy. It's all very muddy, but thankfully there are people fighting it. And the truth is, it's a right we have, and you have to exercise it. If you don't exercise it, nobody's going to bother litigating it and defining it. So
But the point is, men in suits.
the point is,
Godzilla,
men in suits. We
Now-
got, and Toho has not come from my
King
head
Kong.
yet. Toho will come for me one day.
Really? Why is that?
No, well, Toho is very litigious because of the trademark.
I think you said that in the movie.
I did. I think we did. Godzilla's a trademark. It's not just a copyright. It's also a trademark, and trademarks people don't have any sense of humor about.
Let's get down to brass tacks here,
yes.
okay? King Kong
Yeah.
famously only had one man in suit. Well, unless you count like King Kong Lives, but who would? But the original, obviously, famously animated. The most recent one, famously animated.
Right.
But in the King Kong 1978 with Jeff Bridges,
Yes. Rick Baker, the
Rick
monster
Baker,
maker.
and that is my favorite. I
Yes.
love his performance in that. I think it's really good. I mean, I
Well-
really like the way it's very ominous.
Yeah, it's very. It's a great. It's a
It's a good
gorilla.
design of King
It's
Kong.
a fantastic. Carlo Rambaldi did the design. Who did E.T.
E.T. and Close Encounters.
Close Encounters, exactly. But to correct you a little bit, there were actually the Toho King Kong movies: King Kong versus Godzilla, King Kong Lives.
Oh, that's right. I just
Are
saw one
guys
in the theater,
suits.
actually.
Did you really?
I saw it at the New Beverly. They played
Oh.
King Kong versus Godzilla
I
right
love
before
that
the new
movie.
Godzilla.
I feel like I'm watching King Kong versus Godzilla right now because at no point
I'm
in
hairier.
this show have we ever had someone who could go toe to toe with Adam and say, "I'd like to correct you on that
on a Godzilla
one
fact.
moment about this Godzilla," because I just go, "It's yes."
I will
You were
say
like,
this though.
As any normal person should, Karen. Congratulations on being pretty normal.
You know, it's what geeks do. That's what
I
when
like
you
it.
guys found
You
out.
both are like-
found
But you
out
would
about
agree
me.
that King Kong design in Japan,
Yeah,
subpar.
well,
It's
yeah,
crazy. He's like
Oh,
a
that's
crazy
shitty.
face.
Oh,
that's right.
wait, King Kong versus Godzilla? I can't believe, because obviously sculpture's been around since the dawn of fucking time. Like, how do they sculpt the worst looking King Kong face you've ever seen? You're
And
like,
they can make
certainly there's a
topiary
sculptor
trees,
on
but
it.
they can't do
Right?
Right?
They could make a bush look
Yeah.
like it. But you go to make an animated thing. You can't, honestly, seriously, just go to YouTube and just look up the King Kong from the. You're like, how do you make something that shitty when sculpture has existed for hundreds of thousands of years?
Well, we bombed sculpture over
Yeah,
in
perhaps they should start
1995.
over.
Now,
Take
a
that,
lot,
sculpture.
A lot of the guys in the movie say that who played the creature from the Black Lagoon?
Well, two people played the creature.
Oh, that's right. One swimmer and one
yeah.
actor.
Rico Browning played the swimming creature in all three movies, and then Ben Chapman played it in the first film, and then I want to say Tom Hennessy played it in the second.
Many of the men in
And,
suits claim that was one of the best
it's
jobs
still
out there.
It's still the best.
What is
one.
your favorite?
It is the Gillman. I love the Gillman. I mean, I'm a Godzilla fan as well, but the Gillman for me, it's the best suit still to this day. In fact, if you guys are Gillman fans, there's a store in Burbank called Creature Features.
Oh yeah.
You guys should get over to.
It's right next to Arrow Books.
Yes,
Yep.
right next to Aero Books on Magnolia. They have a
Friend of the
feature
show,
for the
Aerobooks
Black-
Autobooks.
Creature from the Black Lagoon gallery showing all these this fan art and
my
some
God.
props and stuff from the film as well. Definitely check
I'm
it
in.
out.
That place is fairly new. It's only about a year old.
I always loved that they had the classic Universal monsters, Wolfman and Dracula, but he was like just this completely different thing, but it's kind of lumped in with him. I just thought he was the coolest variation on a Universal monster.
Absolutely, and he still is just as popular today. I mean, they'll screw it up because they just handed over the Universal monsters to Bob Kurtzman of Orchie and Kurtzman fame.
Yeah.
And I'm not, as you probably knew when you guys met me, not a big fan of the J.J. Abrams films, although I did watch both of them, and I do own both of them.
You got to give him a day in court. Yeah, but-
Well, no, I gave him the day in court and still bought it.
Yeah,
Still bought it.
I
and
am
then sentenced yourself.
I'm that. I have Crystal.
Pretty enjoyable.
I have Crystal Skull on Blu-ray.
Oh!
Thank you very much.
Paul doesn't have that.
Sorry,
Not that bad.
Sorry,
Not
sorry.
that bad.
I
horribly
can-
wretched.
I have moments of weakness.
It's fine.
It's the worst.
It's the Batman and Robin of the series. There's no doubt of that.
There is. That's true. That's true. Shia LaBeouf's nipples are on
You know
display.
what you have footage of in your film is the press event for the opening of the Creature from the Black Lagoon musical at Universal
Yes.
Theme Park.
Oh my God, I've auditioned for that.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Did you shoot that footage?
that's
I did shoot that
hysterical.
footage.
I was there too.
Were you
I was
at
the
that?
voiceover announcing all the stuff
You're
about
kidding.
the creature. The creature's
You're
loose,
kidding.
and he ran around and everything.
I got a lot. I got a lot more. I'll send it. I was lucky. It was just one of those things. We had just started doing the documentary, and that creature show started.
Horrible show, right?
Well, I mean, it was what it was. I mean,
Horrible.
Yeah.
Paul, it's no
I'm being
Spider-Man
nice.
rocks.
Oh, also
No,
horrible.
no.
Yeah.
That is too funny. Wow.
Well, the special effects show is the best thing to be in that venue in a long time.
Yeah. Wasn't that? I think that was the same place they did the Conan show, right?
Yeah, that was before my time, but I heard that was really good. Actually,
I'm old.
Yeah,
Just letting you know.
yeah. But no, I mean, the suit looked great, but
The suit
just
looked
an
great, yeah.
ill-conceived
Yeah,
show.
it was
show
it was a
idea.
little odd. Not everything should be put to music.
No. Talking about music, whenever I first got the email, Paul was telling all of us that you were going to be on the show, and he said he did this documentary, Men in Suits. I immediately thought it was a Lyle Lovett story. I got very excited.
You would. You jumped to that conclusion a lot.
A lot. I'm like,
Titanic. Lyle Lovett.
Lyle Lovett's in it?
How
Right?
did you possibly?
Honey.
Yeah.
Oddly
What?
enough, that's our next documentary.
I love it. Can I? Yeah, I'll do any. I'll
That's
work
the
on it
title.
for free.
It's called I Love It.
I love it. Hey, patent pending. Patent pending.
So you've also done, and we were talking about this beforehand. These like half-hour profiles of great horror auteurs, for lack of a better word.
Yes, the
Oh, yeah.
masters of
Really
horror.
cool people.
Yeah, Matt Moore, this is the Masters of Horror. I started producing documentaries. I used to produce bonus materials for Anchor Bay. And Masters of Horror, which some of you
Love
guys
their
may know on the
clothes.
show. Excellent.
I shop at Anchor Bay all the
I
time.
especially love their fall collection.
Yeah,
Very
Some of the best jeans.
Khakis, greens. I love it.
So, but that's the way I got to meet a lot of these great guys.
Is John Carpenter in that group?
John Carpenter is in that group.
Wow,
And
Toby
we-
Hooper.
Toby Hooper, John Landis.
And you interviewed people who had worked with him. It's called Creating...
Working with the Master.
Working with the Master.
And we did 13, one for each of the directors.
Fascinating.
And we got to meet a lot of those guys. And that was also, by doing that and doing other Anchor Bay titles, that's what introduced me to a lot of the people in the horror film community.
Yeah.
So when we came time to do Lovecraft, we actually had... Well, one, we had something we could show, and that's really kind of the key thing to any filmmakers out there is that just make stuff, put it out there. If
Yeah.
it gets seen, if you're a producer, especially in this day and age, and Mark Zickery, we were talking about him earlier, will tell you this: if you walk into a room and say I'm a producer, people will listen to you, even if you are or you're whatever. But if you having these working with the masters done, that was able to get in touch with people like John Carpenter again. Neil Gaiman, Peter Straub, and all these guys for our Lovecraft documentary. And, unfortunately, people seem to have liked it enough that we were able to do a couple more. And hopefully we'll do some more after this.
And you talked to Don Coscarelli?
Don Coscarelli, yes. Don was there, and we talked to all the people that he's worked with, all the Phantasm actors, Angus Scrimm, for all the people who are Phantasm fans out there, Reggie Bannister as well. And,
I'm thinking the Disney thing, Phantasm or
That's
something.
Fantasia.
That's
what I'm thinking. Fantasia.
There's only two of those.
We got
There's
this.
4 Phantasms.
Sorry.
Just sit back, Karen. Join me over here. We'll just
remake.
wait for this thing.
I'm getting hit by an airplane right now. Sorry.
And Beastmaster of all films. That was the Don Coscarelli classic.
Yes.
God, that was on
That
HBO
first
a
one
lot.
was Don Coscarelli?
The first one was Don Coscarelli.
That was one of those movies that was on HBO so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you watch
Yeah, that's a question we
Beastmaster.
sometimes ask guests, so I'll ask it of you. That what is a movie you only know because cable would not stop showing it?
The Stuntman.
The stuntman. That's such
Stuntman
a
was
perfect
on,
answer.
It is on
Arkish?
all the time.
Is that right?
I only know that exists because Cable
Richard
wouldn't
Rush was
stop
the
you.
director.
Richard
but Alan
Rush.
Arkish was the producer.
Right.
Yeah, the stuntman was
God, what a
on
good answer.
all the time.
What? Yeah, nobody knows that.
See, and ironically, Hooper was on all the time when I was a kid.
I was just about to say Hooper's the one I.
Hooper with Burt Reynolds,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Nothing like the
I didn't-
life of a Hollywood stuntman.
I didn't get cable, so I can't participate.
Well, this is just Sundays with Dad.
What did
That was a dad game.
Whatever was on.
Yeah.
what did Canadian television you got through the antenna show?
We would get a show called Switchback on Sundays, and Sean Thompson would host it. And he would take Kendini, the doll, and put it over the falls in a Kentucky Fried Chicken barrel.
But would they show movies? Is it like one of those movie
Does
shows?
Harrison Ford have anything to say about that?
Thanks a lot.
Sorry.
I agree. No, they didn't show movies.
They didn't, no, really. Canadian cable didn't have anything.
Well, we only got one channel in
Canadian
Canada.
broadcast
Let's
didn't
not
have
get
Canadian
crazy.
So what is next?
Next for us, I mean, as far as documentaries go, we're working on
The Lyle
something.
Lovett one.
The Lyle Lovett one.
I love it.
We do have a steampunk web series coming out soon, all about the history of steampunk. That
How
we're
old is
producing.
that as a thing?
Oh wow, it depends on who you ask. But I know.
I bet.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, exactly. We have
like
many
hipsters.
points of view, but I would say that it's probably, as a phrase, been around for about at least 10 years now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember with the man who coined the phrase.
Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know in the audience, it's cyberpunk meets ancient. It's like a futuristic stuff meets ancient technology, right?
Yeah.
So you,
Well, it's
now go ahead, give me a
Jamie
correct.
Yeah, come on in here.
It's like the electronic age is set in Victorian times.
There you go.
Yeah, so like
yeah,
if you
kind
wanted
of.
to make a watch, instead of making it with
Oh,
electronic
that's what I don't
things,
care
you
about.
would make you'd make it with steam powered things and water and boiling.
The shorthand that people
Sorry,
can
Jamie.
point to is the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that the Disney movie. That's very steampunk.
Yeah,
That's
I've seen the
very
steampunk Ghostbusters around, and they were badass.
That was
They're-
pretty
they're
badass.
proton
Steampunk
What
packs.
I
Yeah.
love
Really
about
cool.
them is that is the perfect combination, because steampunk tries to make things that are real out of like modern out of old things, but Ghostbusters proton packs aren't even real. So you could be like, well, I have to take this boiler, and then how are you going to make a real
Yeah, there's
proton
all
pack?
sorts of crazy stuff.
It
flying.
comes.
Yeah.
It's,
Whirring
there's
and
so many
whizzing on that
variations
thing.
you can
It's
do.
awesome.
I saw steampunk Boba Fett that looked really cool.
Yeah.
In the Comic-Con pictures someone posted. Yeah.
Adam, you would be more interested if you looked a little closer, because some of the steampunk women are hot. Lots
that
of
movie?
titties
Sucker
pushed
Punch,
up.
right?
Yeah,
Sucker
yeah.
Was that steampunk?
A little steampunk.
Sucker Punch had some
steampunk in it.
steampunk to it.
Now, if you have a steam train and there's a bunch of punks aboard it and they're trying to stop the train that's circling the Earth, what would that be called? Hey, love snow.
I think it would be called
Steam Piercer. All right, Frank, stick around as we play a round of. What did you see this week?
And then we got to ask him about his upcoming project. I want to talk about that.
Oh, you want to get into that, huh?
Not yet.
Okay, that's fine.
But before we go, though.
Oh, go ahead. It's all right.
No.
Well, let's do the game.
He's already played the intro music. Adam.
I know.
I have. It's true. What did you see
The
this
game
week?
has begun.
We should do this quick, though, because we
I'll write
always
it down.
do it like for. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
He's writing.
I'll tell you a quick thing I learned about Guardians of the Galaxy. Not even watching it a second time, but just reflecting on it.
Yes.
That I forgot to bring up the first time around. First time around was that this movie, a lot of franchises like X-Men, you watch X-Men, and when it's over, you're like, okay, now I know who everybody is. When are they going to kick ass? The good thing about Guardians of the Galaxy is you meet them all, and they kick ass all in the same movie.
The whole
You have the
time.
introduction and the ass kicking at the same
Isn't
time.
that impressive?
So, yeah, that is a good thing.
Isn't that impressive that is that is an insulated movie? It only takes place within itself. Like all the plot is, it's not one of those things like, I don't know, like something like Spider-Man. They get into like this long discussions about this technologies and shit that they give a shit about, and it's going to affect the plot or whatever. But like the Guardians are just trying to save their own skins and trying to. It's such an insulated ecosystem. It exists, it's like a snake eating its tail. Like it's such a compact movie in that way. I really like it.
Yeah.
Like it's their concerns, and they solve their concerns about them in their
Just
adventure.
like everyone in life.
Just like
But it's not like
everybody.
Fantastic Four, which I remember that movie was like them trying to stop the thing that they created or something like that. Like the Guardians really get involved in a galaxy-wide plot. So
Yeah.
and they kick ass, and you get to know them all. I saw Get On Up as well.
Ooh.
James
and I
Brown.
wanted to play this because I was telling you about it. Did they going to cover the crazy part of James Brown's life when he was old and crazy? And no, they didn't. But this is the period I was talking about.
I
He
hope they,
joins us from Atlanta to discuss the charges, and we welcome you, James Brown. How did all of this trouble begin?
Living in America. There's nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong at all. You're not in any difficulty, but you're out on bond.
No, I'm not.
Oh.
Have all the charges been dropped?
Yeah, I'm out on love.
I'm out
Well,
on...
are you out on love or out of love? Which is it?
Out on love. Alone from night to night, you find me.
this isn't in the movie. They didn't cover the James
That's
Paul
actual
interview.
news. Yeah.
That sounds like the greatest part of the movie.
Oh,
They were
God.
saving it for the sequel.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right.
It will be better, like Godfather 2. It will be
The
superior.
quick take
Yep.
on Get On Up is I always forget this when we talk about guilty pleasures. Great Balls of Fire is my guilty pleasure. That is a cartoonish look at Jerry Lee Lewis's
Yeah.
life that is all surface and fun. And I kind of wish this was all that. Get On
That's
Up.
not a bad thing to be.
It's not,
They all
because it
wanna
totally
go
owns
into
it.
the worst of their
Right,
lives.
so halfway through the movie, he like hits his wife, and we all go, "What the hell was that all about? Why did he do that? We were liking this guy. He's charming. He's and he's yelling and dancing, and it's a great thing. And then like they got to go dark, and they really don't handle it well.
Gotta
And it's
go
kind
all
of out of nowhere.
OJ on us all of a sudden.
Yeah. So for me, when it was fun, it was best. But because they don't keep it fun all the time, it's a little bit of a mixed bag movie for me.
Yeah.
And Dan Aykroyd is terrible in it.
Oh, God damn
That
it.
guy hasn't been good in so long. It's such a shame. And he's not. I mean, he's a great
great.
guy.
He's one of my
Love him.
favorite Ghostbusters.
Dan, we loved your work.
Yes, he's such a
I
great
loved
job.
him
Mother's
in.
Daisy.
I even
Yeah.
loved him in that movie that
Blues
Adam
Brothers.
hates.
Trading Places.
Anyone's paying
Never
attention,
heard
that's
of
the
that
funniest
movie,
joke
but
ever.
Trading Places, right? Trading Places.
What else did anybody see?
Dr. Detroit.
I saw, speaking of Dan Aykroyd, I saw a
They're
movie.
great.
What About Bob?
Which doesn't have Dan Aykroyd in it.
No, but
Well, we
don't
would
you always
badmouth
think of
Bill
those
Murray
two?
anyway.
Bill
They're
Murray
kind of in
and
the
Dan
same.
Aykroyd?
Yeah, they're
They were
kind
on
of
the
the
same
same.
TV show.
Yeah, they were. I forgot how hilarious that
In the
movie.
way I think of Harry Morgan and Gary Burgos.
Now
I can see that.
let's allow Lee
Sorry,
to
Lee,
talk
go on.
about how great Bill Murray was in this movie.
I forgot what a great film that was and how funny Bill Murray is in every second that he's on screen. And Karen and I were briefly discussing this before the show. Maybe not surprising to anyone else on the set here today. I kind of understood where Dreyfus was coming from. I mean, we've had those people in our lives. We're like, look, I know you all think this person is fine. They're not fine, and I don't want them around me anymore.
That's our dog.
Yeah, he's Richard Dreyfuss.
So I was just absolutely. I stayed up really late just to watch. It was on.
And don't you miss energetic Bill Murray?
Yeah, I love it.
And
I love
I
it.
just, of course, I'm glad he's still out there. I'm glad he's still in stuff,
He's
and
such
I'm
a
glad he's
great
become this
actor.
sort of new legend.
Ghostbusters.
But there's a moment where this is as an example of just how literally everything he did was funny. There's a moment where he just walks through the flower garden, like takes 2 steps through a planter, and Richard Dreyfuss is looking at him like, "Don't walk through my plants." But just the 2 steps that Bill takes, they're hilarious. The way he kind of tiptoes and catches himself in mid stride, and I can't do it. Oh, I don't know.
And of course,
I
you
don't
got
know.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah.
I'm a sailor.
Yeah.
Dr.
And Frank
Marvin
Oz was on a roll back then too. Everything he made was
Yeah.
funny for a while with Dirty Rotten Scoundrels and Little Shop of Horrors and this. Frank, how about you? What'd you see?
You know, Guardians of the Galaxy kind of ruined it the last weekend for me, so I haven't been to the theater, but I've been watching things like Dark Star.
Oh, Dark Star is
John
great.
Carpenter's first film that Dan O'Bannon was in and co-wrote. Dan O'Bannon, for those people who don't know, was one of the writers on Alien, the original Alien.
It's a little bit of a first draft on Alien. In
A
weird
little
way.
bit,
It's
yes,
almost like
absolutely.
the shred of Alien is in Dark Star because it's people who are out in space who are collecting
Yep.
junk, just
Yep.
like an alien,
Yep.
and then something comes aboard, except it was a beach ball that was dressed up to look like an alien in Dark Star.
The low
With webbed
budget.
feet.
Yeah, the low budget on the movie is half the entertainment value.
Oh, it's so wonderful. But Dark Star, and of course with Lauren Bacall passing away, I popped in. But this was just obviously last night or the night before. To Have and Have Not, because you can't go wrong.
Probably
with
her
Early,
defining
Bogey
part.
and Bacall. But yeah, it definitely is her defining part. I mean, it still holds up. It's wonderful. What I love about that though is it's an odd thing. The piano player, because all Bogart movies have to have a piano player in them, apparently, is Hoagie Carmichael, who Ian Fleming.
Yes!
Yes, you know where I'm
I
going.
do know.
That was who Ian Fleming thought James Bond should look like.
He describes him as a hoagie, looking like Hoagie Carmichael in Casino Royale, which is interesting.
Yeah, and if you've seen Hoagie Carmichael, you'd be happy he didn't look like Hoagie Carmichael.
Hoagie!
Hoagie, yeah,
What a
exactly.
name for a guy. Hoagie! Uncle Hoagie? Coming along?
All right, well, let's...
Honey, I would like to say what I saw.
Should we interrupt him talking about Lauren Bacall with Robin Williams? Anyway, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I didn't have time to see much, but I saw a documentary on Warren Jeffs and polygamy. So that was good. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like watching a documentary, and I just started flipping through, and I just get sucked into that whole polygamy thing. Fascinating.
What did you learn?
I learned that Warren Jeffs is in prison because not only did he marry young girls and have sex with them, I guess he says marry so he doesn't think it's illegal when he rapes them. He did that to little boys too. Yay! They talked to 3 of his victims that were small 5-year-old boys.
Didn't Mitt Romney's dad or grandpa move to Mexico so he could be a polygamist?
Yeah, because it's not illegal down there.
Yeah.
Or something.
I just remember oh man, you shouldn't run for president with that out there for.
Wow.
Nobody made a big deal about it. But
He's a
I
Mormon
thought the
too, I
magic
guess.
underwear was weird.
Well,
right?
yeah, that's weird too.
Yeah. So that's fun. That's what I watched.
I watched Black Belt Jones. Moving on.
Moving on to the end of our show.
Great movie.
Ending it as we always do with Karen's birthdays, our weekly look at the birthdays of those who make the movies. Here we go.
All right, let's start off this week of birthdays by wishing a very happy birthday to Marcia Gay Harden, who turns 54 but can play anywhere from a femme fatale in Miller's Crossing to a trophy wife in Trophy Wife.
I can't decide on her.
Yeah, because I'm not sure she knows which way she's going
Yeah.
either, right?
If she's hot or not. I can't.
Oh, I
quite
thought you
get
meant
there.
if she was gay or not.
Oh.
She's
Her middle name's
probably.
gay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so
I don't,
stupid.
can I say that?
Yes.
Faggy.
She
Her
was
name's Faggy.
probably most remembered for her work in Miller's Crossing or Pollock, but I recently saw, you're going to love this, I recently saw her work in Magic and Moonlight, the new Woody Allen film starring Colin Firth, and I really went and picked her actually to do birthdays because she was in a movie with Colin Firth, not because I actually follow her. She's not just someone that's on my radar. You know, sometimes you go to a movie for certain people. So I don't know much about her. So I had to do a whole bunch of research for this segment, which means I had to put her name in Google. And when I put her name in Google, this is so amazing. The autofill said Marcia Gay Harden, and the very next one was Marcia Gay Harden feet. So I, of course, bit, because who doesn't click on that?
Yeah,
Because
amen.
why is that there? And there were over 25 photos of her feet.
Ooh.
Now, they look fine to me, but in the comments section, there were discussions, lots and lots of discussions about her bunions. And it seems that maybe Miss Harden may have noticed this and taken note because on February of this year, Elway59 writes, this picture of Marcia was taken. Elway.
Kozar 25.
59.
Prominent YouTube commentator.
He writes on this site dedicated to celebrities' feet. He writes, this picture of Marcia was taken on November 19th, 2013. She's gone through some major changes in the last couple of years. She's recently divorced and lost some weight and is now fully recovered from her bunion surgery. Marcia's looking really good, exclamation point.
Thank you, Elway.
So,
Major changes in life.
major
Bunion
changes.
surgery.
Bunions.com.
Divorce, lost weight, got that bunion surgery. So, Lee, next time you're near her, could you check out her feet for us?
Absolutely.
Explain that to us.
you know I do that anyway for cankles. I start with the
know.
cankles, but
I thought of you. That's why I
Yeah.
went and I clicked.
But I just to set the record straight, bunions are not a deal breaker for me because I know what causes them.
What causes them?
High heel shoes.
Oh, and you like that.
And I like that. So I'll look, if I'm going to ask you to wear those, I understand what might happen.
We might have to cut the foot, move it over, and bunion
Well,
surgery.
it's why I make them wear them all the time. They don't get to take them off.
So you don't have to look at their bunions.
Look at your
All
bunions.
right, let's continue by wishing a very happy birthday to Steve Martin.
Hey!
Yay! Who turned
All of his movies are
68. What'd you say?
All of his movies are good. Go
There
ahead.
you go, perfect. But
the
can
best.
play anywhere
Pink
from.
Panther, Keeper by the Dozen.
He turned 68, but can play anywhere from a jerk to an amigo.
Oh.
All right, real quick around the table. What's your favorite Steve Martin movie? Go.
Wrong. Roxanne?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, maybe.
That's right.
That's
Roxanne.
tough. Hard. Very hard. But Roxanne came to mind first.
Dead
Wait,
Man
plane,
Door.
trains, and automobiles. Shit. Okay.
Dead Man Door Plaid.
The jerk.
Right?
He hates these cans.
Either Man with Two Brains or All of Me.
Oh,
I loved Roxanne.
Get that cat out of here.
Oh, all of me. That's good.
Roxanne is his masterpiece, though.
Right?
That is every Steve Martin is a full bore in that movie,
He's
right?
so
LA
adorable.
Story is
Oh,
a close
yeah.
second.
Not as accessible.
But Roxanne has this sort of romanticism that's kind of
Yeah.
inherent in him as a person too,
true.
you know? And which is also an LA Story, but I think treated better in Roxanne.
Roxanne's better. I mean, I'll definitely.
Now we all
Good,
know.
I beat you down on that one.
Yeah,
I thought you said earn more sessions by sleeving.
Why would I say that?
What did you say? I said 5 more seconds and I'm leaving.
And I'm leaving.
What'd you
All
think
right.
I said?
Thought you said earn more sessions
You
by
said
sleeping.
sleeping.
Why would I have said that? Or what does that
So
mean?
we all know that these are roles that he took, but what about the roles he turned down?
Oh, I love this game.
Oh, here we go.
Oh God.
This is
Superman.
Yeah, I know.
Dustin
I'm
Hoffman.
just gonna actually just.
Please don't die, Steve Martin.
I'm just gonna tell you, he turned down the role of Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
No.
I was going to say that and
You know-
joke. I didn't realize
That's
that's true.
what Google and the interwebs are saying.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes they say stuff like that because they offer things or they've thought about it or they.
Yeah,
there's like it's not like they were like, look, we want him and only him, and then he wouldn't do it. You know.
Well, I've often thought that Harrison Ford, Dennis Quaid, and Steve Martin should be in the same film together as brothers.
That would be awesome.
Look at them side by side.
I could live with that.
I think that's why I've always liked Dennis Quaid. When
They
I was
should
growing
be
up, 'cause he
side
reminded
by
me of Harrison
side in
Ford
bed
is
with
my
us.
favorite.
What? All right, Up in the Air, the part that George Clooney played.
Oh, I could see that. Actually.
Wouldn't that be charming?
Oh, yeah.
That'd
Wouldn't that be great
lovely.
to see Steve Martin do something like that?
Yeah, I think he could totally pull it off. Pull a Bill Murray, where he comes back and he
Exactly,
starts
right?
doing those kind of roles. He could totally do
I thought he
that.
was going to make that turn. And what was that David Mamet movie where he's kind of Spanish prisoner?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to
Yeah.
kind of make that turn and be a little more of a.
I don't want him to play the
Then he made
wacky dad anymore, the grandpa who's crazy. I hate
Then he
that
made the
shit.
big year. Oh, well.
I know. All right, but here's something kind of neat, and it also goes back to the whole Robin Williams thing.
His last movie.
The Birdcage. Check this out. So Martin was to play the masculine gay guy, whereas Robin Williams was going to be his flamboyant drag queen love interest. When Steve Martin backed out because of a scheduling conflict, Robin Williams took over that part. They brought in Nathan Lane to fill the roles that was just vacated. Isn't that interesting?
I want to see that version of it.
I do too. I want to see Robin
I always
Williams.
wanted to see the
that.
Waiting for Godot they did in New
Yes,
York.
yes.
Steve Martin and Robin Williams. No,
Yeah.
great.
So
It was, yeah.
yes, we love Steve Martin. We don't want anything bad to happen to him. So good stuff.
Stay alive, Steve.
Stay alive. And lastly, this is fun. Let's wish a happy birthday to another celebrity that I don't really follow or pay attention to, Chris Hemsworth, who turns 31 but can play anywhere from a medieval times waiter to an Australian heartthrob. That's what he just looks like to me. He looks like a Renaissance fair jouster at all times.
play that.
He could totally play that. We all know Chris from playing Thor, but he was not originally the Hemsworth being courted for the role. His brother Liam was up for the role until Chris's
dreamy.
manager got
Yummy.
Chris a second audition. He was so pissed that he had to audition twice and his brother almost got the role that he believes his swagger alone got him the part. And this year at Comic-Con, Chris was referring to the paper Marvel universe, the comic books, and he said that the new Thor everyone knows is going to be a woman. And in reference to that, he said, "I don't want to speak too early and jinx it, but I think that could be my Oscar." Isn't that awesome? So he's cute and funny. And Lee,
Yes.
you know how much I love to hear celebrities sing.
I do. People ask me, name two things about Karen. I say,
Yes.
A, she always mispronounces the word sore and says Thor.
Yeah.
And two,
I have a lisp.
she has a list. And two, she loves when celebrities sing.
I love it so much, in fact, that I went and did a deep cut of some Thor singing myself. And here we are going to listen to little Chris Hemsworth singing from that, what is that thing called? I didn't write it down.
It was an Australian television show
Like
called
a soap
Home
opera.
and Away.
Holy
Home
shit.
and Away. Let's listen to him
This is
sing.
obscure.
And playing the guitar as well. Multi-talented.
I'm always amazed you can find these
In
things.
a world there's so many, all I see is only you.
He's not really playing anything, is he?
Can you confide in him? He's playing it good.
That's a mashup that you have to do.
Nothing's gonna hold me back. From reaching
Well, that's our showcast, everybody. Follow us on Twitter at The Movie Guys, on Facebook.com/The Movie Guys, as well as YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Vine, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever, all that shit. We're there. Thanks to Frank Woodward.
Yay!
Frank, H. Woodward. And tell us about your new
Educational.
project that you wanted to mention real quick. I know Adam was excited.
It actually doesn't come out to Halloween at the moment, but I wrote the script for Wrong Turn 6.
Hard to believe you made a horror film script.
I know, horror film script, me.
Yeah, but you get to move into actually creating one.
Yes, that's one of the good
and I'm
side effects.
I'm a fan of sequels. I'll see anything there's at least 4 of.
You're gonna have to now go.
I'm gonna do it.
Oh wow!
I've
really?
heard there's even some, and my favorite thing is when there's some continued mythology. I've heard a couple of them are a little connected, right? There's a killer that continues.
Well, it's killers. There's 3 brothers, the Hilliker brothers.
Okay.
3 Finger, One Eye, and Sawtooth.
Now you've seen the first 5, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. No, I don't curse your.
No. I mean, I won't. But no, I think by far the best one is the second.
Okay.
That was
because I've seen the first, but that's the only one I've seen.
Yeah, the one with Elijah Dushku.
Yes. My mom's a huge fan of that.
Yeah,
movie.
no, wrong. Yeah, it's this new one. If I do say so myself, I think is going to take the series in an all new direction.
Nice.
Let's hope that people enjoy it. But that
kind
comes
of a right turn.
A right turn, if you're 4 wrongs, as you know.
You have earned your.
And you got a website or a Twitter people should check out?
Well, they get everything. Hashtag FHW for my Twitter feed, and you can go to weirdstuff.com. WYRDstuff.com for any of our documentary stuff.
Cool.
Nice. Is that available for purchase, or is it streaming somewhere?
Men in Suits is not streaming yet, but it will be by the end of the year. Okay. But you can pick it up on DVD through Amazon. And Lovecraft is out there as well. You can find that through Crackle, through iTunes, or whatnot.
And I should say it's really well made too, Men in Suits. We just went to a film festival, and I saw a couple documentaries that just had too many talking heads. But that's why I complimented the footage, because it's a great mix of footage plus stuff you've never seen before. Like the great shots of the people making Dark Crystal. When you see a character walking and you forget there's like 5 guys underneath there getting stuff done.
And the Henson people were very, very nice to us with Men in Suits.
I think we all learned something tonight, that when you're in a diner and there's a strange man there, talk to him.
Especially if it's me.
Hear that, kids?
Yes.
Hear that, kids?
Kids, talk to strange
Drive
men in
fast.
diners.
Also, thanks to Jamie Clark Yelvington for minding the board and keeping us correct.
Thank you, Jamie.
And Steve Schultz for his writing
Cynthia
contributions
Rothrock.
to the show every week.
Cynthia
yeah,
Rothrock.
that's right. She'll be in the Expendables.
Yeah, go ahead.
And remember, you can always find everything we're up to at themovieguys.net. We'll be back next week with more new releases, including Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. And we will see you then.